What's up, y'all? It's Daniel the Shoemmelier. If you're a fan of college football or a fan of college sports or sports in general, you are no doubt aware that the college football championships game has been set. It's the Hoosiers of Indiana versus the Hurricanes of Miami. And this game is historic for a number of reasons, but only one reason pertains to this channel, which is a sneaker-based channel. And that is, for the first time in college football playoff, college football national championship game history, two teams will have athletic apparel that is not Nike. That's right. Both Indiana and Miami are Adidas schools. And it's big. You have sportscasters and sneaker people alike posting about how this is like an Adidas bowl. It's Adidas versus Adidas. We're going to have an Adidas national championship. And you have the people that are maybe three stripes over checks tweeting stuff like, imagine Phil Knight, the biggest booster for Oregon, the college that represents Nike, not only getting blown out, but getting blown out by an Adidas school. And then the next week, two Adidas schools will be fighting it out for the national championship. Now, it is easy to kick a team or a brand when they're down, but the reality is, if we pull back, Nike has won a lot of national football championships. They have been the athletic apparel provider of many a team. It is more rare. In fact, this is the most rare because it's two Adidas schools. It is no Nike school in this at all. So it is quite rare. But I thought I would look back to see just how many times something like this has happened. And spoiler alert, it hasn't been a whole lot. Nike has been pretty dominant since schools have started to sign exclusive deals with Nike or Jordan Brand or Adidas or Under Armour or any other sort of apparel company. So let's look back a little bit, and we'll go back just a few years to 2023 when Washington made the college football playoff. And that was, in fact, the very first Adidas school to make the college football playoff. Now, we've only had the 12-team playoff for 2 years. We've had the 4-team playoff much longer than that. Before that, it was the BCS National Championship. And before that, it was just an arbitrary picking of teams and going like, all right, you're the champion. Or, okay, you're the champion. Or you have two teams that finished undefeated that didn't play each other because there were bowl alliances and conferences. And I promise this isn't a sports channel, but you get the picture that college football has evolved, has progressed. Some would say for the worse, some would say for the best. Most of us would say somewhere in the middle. But in 2023, again, Washington was the first Adidas school to qualify for the National College Football Playoff. If we go back a little bit further, I guess that would be more than 10 years, to 2014, when Auburn University, who was an Under Armour school, was in the national title game. That was the last non-Nike school in the national championship game. They did lose to Florida State, but nevertheless, Auburn was in it. So we've gone from 2014 to 2023, now to 2026. We'll say 2026 because the game is taking place in 2026. If we stick with Auburn and go from, oh, they lost the national championship, to, hey, they won the national championship. In 2010 was the last non-Nike champion. That was Under Armour with Auburn. Auburn, I believe, is now a Nike school, but at the time they had a pretty, lengthy contract with Under Armour. So Under Armour was represented as the champion in 2010 by Auburn, and then as the runner-up in 2014 by Auburn. So we're going further back to find those little rare instances of a non-Nike champion. So far, we've had a lot of Nike and then one Under Armour. But what happens next? Well, we have to go back even further than that to 1998. 1998. Some of you out there watching weren't even born yet. 1998 was the last time an Adidas school won the national championship. That was Rocky Top, University of Tennessee in 1998. It has been 28 years, depending on how you do the math on all that stuff. It is 26. 28 years since an Adidas school won the national championship. So an Adidas school winning this year no matter what. So congrats to Adidas. But let's go back just a year to 1997, where we had Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, won their national championship, also in Adidas schools. So we had 97 and 98. It was a repeat. Adidas must have thought things were really cooking, especially when you consider that in 1995, just 2 years earlier, 95, 1997, and 1998, Nebraska won their second national title. Well, two in this conversation. They won the other national championship in 1995. They were an Adidas school. Now, they played in the Orange Bowl. And in this particular Orange Bowl, it was number 1 Nebraska versus number 3 Miami. Hey, we've mentioned Miami before. And that was the last time. So we're talking 1995. We are in 2026. 30 years or 31 years. This was the last time Nike was not worn by at least one of the teams in the championship game. And I had to get my notes out so that I can make sure I say this to you correctly, because I don't have a teleprompter and I don't really try to memorize all my scripts. Now, in that Orange Bowl in 1995, Miami wore Russell Athletic. That's a name from the past, right? Russell Athletic's still around. There is or was the Russell Athletics Bowl. So Russell Athletic is a name I remember from my past, but primarily we tend to think about Nike and Adidas being the big jersey, big athletic apparel providers for college football. That was Russell Athletic. Get ready for another one, because while Nebraska was an Adidas school, it really wasn't a whole everyone does it, because some Nebraska players wore Apex One jerseys. While others wore Russell Athletic. So you had some Russell Athletic, you had some Apex One. Of course, Miami was wearing Russell Athletic. In fact, in the 1995 national championship season, Nebraska wore jerseys manufactured primarily by Russell, except when they played Oklahoma, because Nebraska versus Oklahoma was a big rivalry game. No longer when Nebraska went to the Big Ten. Oklahoma stayed in the Big 12, now in the SEC. In that Oklahoma game, some players wore Sports Bell. So we've had some Russell Athletic, Apex One, Sports Bell. Now, I know I said that Nebraska was an Adidas school in 1995, and technically that is correct. I believe, based on my research, and I went to a website that talked about the jerseys that Nebraska won, I think the 95 season, so that meant that August, they were an Adidas school, but they played the Orange Bowl in early 1995, which would have been January of 1995. I'm not sure that they were an exclusive Adidas school at that time. So it might be a gray area. It might be one of those claimed national championships like the aforementioned Auburn. But regardless, in 1995, Nebraska was an Adidas school. So if we look at this and we wrap it all up, 1995 Adidas, 97 Adidas, 98 Adidas, 2010 Under Armour, and then Washington was the first Adidas in 23, Auburn wearing Under Armour in 2014, and it all leads us back to the 2026 National Football Championship between Indiana and Miami, both Adidas schools. 3 stripes will prove to be victorious this year in the battle of college football athletic brands. Does that mean Nike is washed? Definitely not. They're just the way things are going. It's the NIL era. Things are crazy all over the place. So kudos and congrats to Adidas, to the 3 stripes, for their football national championship game in 2026. I hope to see some fantastic ads, some fantastic merchandise. There was already a Duck Duck Who post by Adidas with Fernando Mendoza coming in for a touchdown. I think that probably has to do with Duck Duck Goose. I guess the Who would be like a Who's House. I don't know. I'm not a Hoosiers fan. I'm a Longhorns fan. R.I.P. the Longhorns. They won their bowl game this year. Can't say that about a lot of SEC teams. So, hey, hook them horns. And Eat 'em Up Cats, Texas State Bobcats, won their bowl game. So 2 out of my 3 colleges won their bowl games. We won't mention the Central Michigan Chippewas. I just did, but hey, 2 out of 3. Not bad. That's Hall of Fame numbers. So, all right. Will you be watching the national championship game? Do you care about these teams? I'm excited. Either way, it's fun. You know, I don't have a dog in the race. I haven't had a dog in the race, so good spectator football game fun to watch. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about all of this. If you have an opinion, if you care, all that good stuff. This is the kind of content I like doing because it's very quick. It's very timely. I know it's not evergreen, so it won't really matter, but you know what? I like it. Let me know what you think about this type of content in the comment section down below. Let me know if I should keep it up and what other stuff you might want me to chat about. Awesome. So to all of you out there, wherever you are, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and just chill. Till the next episode.